Hey, so I'm just going to walk through how to make the changes to the documents or the PDFs that we're working with for the task that I assigned. And so what I'm going over right now is what week one looked like. So after I modified it, what I came out with. And I just want to make sure that everything's really consistent as these PDFs were the same formatting throughout the course, as you'll see. So just want to make sure we're all doing the same thing no matter what as we're updating the content. So the first thing you'll want to do is make sure you're transferring all of the information over to a Word document, and then you'll want to change all the font to Arial. After you've done that, we're going to apply the heading styles. So the first heading style you're going to apply is heading level 1, and this will be for your main title up here, so your main topic. Then you're going to apply heading level 2 to your category headers, if that makes sense. So these will be Arial, 14-point font and bolded. And if I didn't mention it, headings that are level 1 are going to be 18-point font, Arial, and bolded. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So then next you're going to focus on your heading level 3s, which will be the subtopics of those topics that are heading level 2. So it kind of goes in order and goes along like that. And these will be Arial, 12-point font, and bolded. Now, if you need to modify the way a heading style looks, you can either right click on the heading style and select modify and make changes here, or you can change your selection of text, then go up to your heading style that you want, right click and say update to match your selection. And that will change what the heading style looks like. Okay, so we've talked about the heading styles, but there are also styles for bolded text and then italicized text. And so for italicized, this is called emphasis. And you will apply this whenever anything is italicized. And again, you'll want to keep it consistent using Arial, 12-point font, italicized for emphasis. Then for strong, you'll use Arial, 12-point font, bolded, and that's strong. So that should be pretty simple to remember. Next, you're going to want to insert a page number, so make sure you're putting that on the right-hand side at the bottom and making it Arial 12-point font. And then you'll be adding in all of the images from the PDFs into your Word document as well. You kind of have some freedom with how you'll put it in, if you want it centered or to the left, whatever may seem natural. Just make sure that you are inputting it and keeping it in line with text. So this is a text wrapping option that you have. So if you click on the image, you can go over to layout options and select inline with text. So you'll give it its own space. You'll also want to apply a caption. So you'll right click and go to insert caption, and then you can add that there. You'll also want to add alt text. So you'll click on the image, right click, select edit alt text. One thing to keep in mind is that your caption should be different than your alt text, with your caption representing the title of your image versus your alt text being that description of what is visually happening. Okay, so moving on, you'll also want to think about the links that are within the PDFs as you're transferring them over. Instead of using just the URL, you're going to want to change that into a descriptive text link. So what I mean by this is, if this were a URL, I would want to right click on it and go to edit hyperlink. And here I could change the text to display, so what I'm seeing on my screen here. And I'm going to do something that describes the website that I'm going to. And then I'm also going to add the screen tip, which is your hover tip, and I can show you what I mean for that. Usually I copy and paste the same text to display information into the screen tip text as well. So your screen tip, if I hover over this, is what appears, that little box there that has some text information in it. Okay, so that is talking about links. Next, you'll want to just make sure there's 1.5 line spacing, and you'll want to turn off any comments or track changes. I don't think that this really should be a problem, but just make sure you go over to the Review tab and then select No Markup under Tracking. Then we'll go to Apply Document Properties, which you'll go over to File, go over to Properties, select Advanced Properties, and fill in your title, subject, author, and keywords. You don't have to think too hard about these. Just try to think of things that kind of summarize your document for the subject or for keywords. The title should be pretty self-explanatory. Then next you'll want to make sure that you have selected the language of the document. So you'll go up to the Review tab again, select Language, and pick Set Proofing Language. And you'll just make sure that English is selected and put OK. So that pretty much covers it. So at the end, you're going to want to make sure that you don't have any accessibility issues. So you'll go over to File, check for issues, and select Check Accessibility. So here you can see I have one error, and I can explain this error to you guys. So it's referring to this rectangle that I put into the document to match the styling that was applied in the PDFs. Now, this is just a rectangular shape, and I actually have marked this as decorative for the alt text. So that means if you go right-click, select alt text, you'll see that is marked as decorative, and that just means that screen readers or assistive technologies will completely skip over it because it's not essential information at all. And I recognize that it isn't in line with text, but I also don't want it read by screen readers, so I've left it the way it was. If I put it in line with text, it would no longer give me the same design features that I'm looking for here. However, if you have any other images that are not in line with text, make sure you're updating those. And if you have any other issues, try to look to fix them. A lot of times it'll show blank spaces as an issue, so you can usually just delete those. But other than that, you should be good to go. If you have any questions, there are tip sheets for Microsoft Word that I'll be sharing with you as well. So.